there, it's Natasha and thank you so much for joining me today. We have a super fun card to create today together. So I am focusing on this little penguin in one of the new releases from AlinaCrafts, and I'm also going to be using this die here. It could either cut like a top or a bottom to your card, but I'm going to use it a little bit differently. And then I'm also going to use the little Merry Christmas out of this stamp set. All of this stuff is by AlinaCrafts on Ali, and I will link down below to her shop. This is a beautiful 6x6 paper pack. You get two sheets of each design, and there's 12 different designs, so heaps to choose from, and I love this one in particular. And then my favorite of all time is her foam tape. I am loving this foam tape, and I am loving it so much that I actually had to get a bit more. So now I definitely won't run out. I particularly love the thin foam tape. It cuts really, really well if you want to cut it in half. Also, Alina has just introduced these squares, foam squares to her store. Now these are the bigger ones, and I think they might be 1 by 1 centimeter, and then maybe the small ones are maybe 5 by 5 mils. I'm not sure. Anyway, they're kind of nice and small, and again, you can cut them really easily, and they're made of the same foam that the foam tape is made of. And then she also has new glue dots. You get two rolls to a package, and there's heaps and heaps of glue dots on the roll. So I've been using these as well, and they're super, super sticky and really good quality, so that's good. And then last but not least, I also have some of Alina's brand new adhesive sheets. Now I'm going to be using all of these products in my card today, and that's why I'm showing you them all. There's lots of videos already of her releases in case you want to see the new release, but this one is mainly focused on the project that I'm doing. So I'm going to start off by using these two circle dies, and I just needed two that were kind of one a little bigger than the other, and I've chosen these two sheets of paper from the Christmas paper pack. And for this first one, I just want the background. This looks like a cool background to me, so I have die cut the largest circle out of that one, and then out of this gorgeous kind of candy striped paper. I love the kind of deep red that this one is. It's not a super bright red. I am going to create a frame using the two circle dies together and then run that through my Cuttlebug, and I have got a nice frame. And I also have that inner piece, which I'm going to use in a different video. I am also wanting to show you the brand new foam that Alina has in her shop. So you have the white foam, the black foam, and I think there's 5 sheets that come per pack. And then this is a sample of the colors that you can purchase. So there's kind of purples, blues, grays, yellows, greens, pinks, and oranges. And these are all 3 millimeters thick. So they're quite thick foam. And yes, you can die cut it. So yeah, it's going to come in handy. And this is some of the white foam that I thought I was going to use for my project today, but I actually ended up using the foam tape of Alina's because it ended up being much easier. So this is what I thought I was going to do to create the frame around my card, but I changed my plan a little bit later on. Now I have a clear sheet of acetate, and again I'm running that through my die cutting machine with the largest circle, and that gives me my acetate for the front of my shaker card. These are the brand new tiny micro shaker bits. They're not beads because they don't have a hole through the center, but they are tiny. So this is the gold and silver. And I'm going to be using the white ones today to kind of look a little bit like snow, but this is a sample of the colors that you can get. They're all lovely and bright. But as I said, I'm going to use that little white one up in the top right hand corner of the screen. So now we're going to start putting the card together, and I have this die that I showed you at the very beginning, and I have pre-die cut this out of some white glitter cardstock. Now this is kind of a thinner glitter cardstock, and I'm going to use it as like kind of a decorative snowbank. So I'm adding a little bit of glue on the back. The glue in this glue bottle is the Ranger multi-medium glue in the matte finish. And I just use a syringe to pop it into this little glue bottle that is off Ali. This is my favorite glue bottle. I've been using it for a fair while now, and I'm pretty sold on it. It's really good. So I've just added a little bit of the glue to the back there, and you can see I'm not going to end up using the whole kind of die cut there, so I'm going to cut off all the excess part because, as I said, I want it to look kind of like a snowbank, I guess, a decorative snowbank. That's what I'll call it anyway. It's kind of the ground. It grounds everything in my picture. Now here is my favorite penguin. This little penguin is so adorable. So I've cut him out in white cardstock, black cardstock, and then some kind of glitter teal cardstock. So penguins are obviously usually black and white. And this die kind of half by cuts some of the little places that you need to separate it, but you just kind of need to do a couple of extra little snips and those parts will come free. So it's super easy to paper piece this little guy. So I'm adding black for that part there, and then I am going to add on his hat. And again, I'm just cutting away all those excess wee pieces. Now at the moment I leave the little pom-pom on there, but I'm going to cut it off because I'm going to add something else there. I do want to make his hat kind of dimensional to give him some interest, so that's why I die cut 2 of those little teal coloured hats, and I've just glued one on flat with some liquid glue, and then I just have a tiny wee piece of Alina's foam tape, and that will go on the back of the second hat, and as I said, that just makes it kind of nice and dimensional. Then I need to fix up his little nose and things, so I'm not going to lie, I googled what a cartoon penguin looks like and he had orange little feet and an orange nose, so that's how I'm making my little penguin, and I'm putting some double-sided tape on the back so that I can adhere in his little nose. Don't worry about the eyes just yet, I will fix them soon, but I'm adding a little bit of hot glue and then a tiny wee white pom-pom. How cute does this little guy look? This is actually maybe my favorite shaker card I've ever made. Now I'm using some of Alina's foam tape, and just a little tip, you definitely need to take off the release paper off both sides of the foam tape, and then it will curl, it will go around any curve without any problems whatsoever. So you don't do little pieces that join all together, you can just do one long strip, and that way you know nothing is going to come out of those little beads and things when you do a good shaker card. So I have a little Jelly Roll glaze pen and I filled in his eyes, and then this is the stamp set that I showed you at the beginning, and I am taking that Merry Christmas sentiment and I'm going to cut it, but it's okay because I want to stack them one on top of the other. So I'm going to pop it on an acrylic block and stamp it in some VersaFine Onyx black ink. Now if you wanted to, you could use a stamp tool, but I like this ink and I think it's pretty reliable when I stamp with it, so I just risked it and did it with my acrylic block, and it worked out perfect. I have glued down my little penguin flat because remember this is going to be the inside, he's inside a shaker card, and here are these gorgeous little white kind of micro beads, and I am just going to gently pour them into the very middle of my little penguin thing, and I'm just going to pour really slowly so that they don't all roll away. It actually worked out perfectly fine. I've got quite a wee heap of them there because I want there to be plenty in the shaker card. It's kind of no fun having a nearly empty shaker card, so I'm going to pop the lid on there, and as I said, that's that double-sided tape, and we had already removed the release paper to make it really easy to bend around that circle, and then I run my fingers right around it to make sure it's all perfectly sealed, and look how gorgeous this little shaker card is. We're not quite finished yet, but he's pretty cute, I think. This might be my favorite actually ever. So anyway, now I'm going to pop some little pieces of double-sided tape around the outside of the little red and white frame that we made at the very beginning, and I'm just going to pop that over top, and I think that kind of finishes it off really nice. Now, just to make the card come together, this is another piece of the pattern paper that was in that paper pack, and I'm cutting it down to 4 3/4 by 4 3/4, and that will just create a really nice matting layer for our shaker card. And that was our card for today. I hope you enjoyed this one as much as I did. This is definitely a favorite. I look forward to hearing from you guys what you think in the comment section down below. And I really look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you everybody so much. See you later. Bye.